Good morning, students, and welcome to your week 2 class in advanced legal research. And we will be talking this week about the legal memorandum, why we generate them, how they're researched, and how they're composed. The technical details of the legal memorandum are probably found in your textbook, but in any event, what I will do is I will give you a factual scenario and I will hold out a little bit of information that will help you put this into context. So typically what happens is that there's never enough time to generate a legal memorandum. It's usually in a hurry. So what happens is that it's Thursday afternoon and you're sitting at your desk in the law firm trying to figure out whether you feel like going to the Metallica concert this weekend or whether you're going to find something else to do with your friends. And the senior partner in the law firm stops by your desk and says, look, we have a situation here. We have a potential client named Marvin Katko. Now, here are the facts. What Marvin does is Marvin and his friend are in the antique business. So what they do is they burglarize rural residences that seem to have been abandoned or boarded up or whatever. They scan the place for antique bottles and glassware and load up their car and then go out to the flea market on Sunday and sell to the antiques crowd. Now, Marvin and his friend have broken into a particular farmhouse on a number of occasions, and this farmhouse belongs to George and Sarah Briney. The Brineys are kind of tired of boarding up the house and having it broken into and boarding up the house and having it broken into. Nobody seems to be able to catch Marvin in the act. So Mr. George Briney decided that what he was going to do was set up a shotgun loaded with the hammer pulled back in a back bedroom in this empty or unused farmhouse that he owns with a tripwire attached to the bedroom door. Now, the next time that Marvin Katko broke into the house, some days later, he opened the bedroom door, tripped the shotgun wire, and managed to wound himself quite severely and was rushed to the hospital and sustained substantial gunshot injuries. Now, Marvin Katko is a potential client for the law firm, and Marvin Katko wants to sue the Brineys for what they did to him. And what I need to know from you is, does Marvin Katko have a cause of action, and is it recognized in this state? So if you would be so pleased as to generate a legal memorandum outlining the facts and the law and on the facts I've given you, and have it on my desk Monday morning, that would be very nice, because Marvin Katko is coming in by the office and we're going to have a talk and see whether we want to undertake this. Now, as legal assistants and paralegals and law clerks, you already know that an efficient and effective legal memorandum is simple, to the point. It explores both the positives and negatives, because this is for internal consumption. We're not going to release this to the public. And also, it's not advocacy. So if there are bad facts involved, they have to be brought out. If there's bad statutory law, that has to be brought out in your memorandum, and then you have to reach a conclusion based on the facts and the law. So it's simple enough to try your hardest to take and distill the memorandum into a single question that can be answered yes or no. And in this case, you would give a short statement of the facts, which I've given you, and digest them as narrowly as you can. You would ask the question, does Marvin Katko have a cause of action? You would state your answer, whatever that happens to be, and then you would go on to explore the legal reasoning behind what your conclusion is. And in this particular case, as in any other case, the first place you look is statutory law. Is there law on the point that we're talking about here? And that is, can you set up a trap gun in a piece of property that you own, and when some trespasser comes along and trips the wire, they get shot? Well, the answer to that is no. You can't do it, not in the state of Iowa, which is where this case happens. So your answer would be no, based on Iowa Code section, whatever it happens to be. And then the next thing you will look for is, are there cases on point? And sometimes there are, and sometimes there aren't. So the first thing you would do there is you would research similar case law in other states and adjoining states. In the case of Iowa, the courts pay great deference to the courts of Minnesota for some reason or other that totally escapes me. Be that as it may, that is where you're going to look. And how you're going to do that, of course, is you're going to start with Words and Phrases, which is your West legal dictionary. Words and Phrases will take you into the annotated code or digest for your jurisdiction. In this case, you would have the Iowa Code. So you found out that there's a code section that says, no, can't do it. And in that, under that code section in your annotated code will be collected all the cases from Iowa that ever address that particular legal point. And if you do not have a case on point, you can then take that key number, which they have a little key in the text. You can take that key number and go into your regional digest, and you can find all the cases on point in any state in the region that have addressed that particular legal point. So in this case, as we know, Marvin Katko probably has a cause of action. It's going to be a hard sell because a lot of people on the jury might not like the idea that we're paying a guy to burglarize somebody's house, and then he could sort of more or less gets what he bargained for. But that's not the point. The point is not whether it's morally correct or not to pull a judgment call on this. That's not what we're doing when we're doing a legal memo. We want facts, we want law, we want conclusions. And that's what you're going to do this week. That's what you're going to learn about. And I will, of course, post several sample memos on my site, and you will all have a chance to see how these things are structured. There are numerous different ways to structure a memorandum, but they all lead to there are different paths that lead to the same conclusions, which is, what is the question presented? Does Marvin Katko have a cause of action? What's the short answer, yes or no? What are the facts? What's the applicable law? And what are the cases telling us in this particular case? As a point of information, I can tell you that yes, Marvin Katko did have a case. Yes, he did sue the Brineys. Yes, he collected somewhere in the neighborhood of $18,000 for his medical damages. No, the court wasn't very happy with Marvin. And in fact, I met somebody at the local Montgomery wards when I first moved here to Iowa back in 1993, who'd actually known Marvin Katko and said that all the people in church thought he was kind of a bum anyway. But that's not the point. Now, one little point here, and then I'll close for the session. You might find that there's more than one legal issue that can be answered yes or no. You might consider doing a separate memo for each legal issue, or categorizing them as 1, 2, 3, and so on. As long as you keep them separate and you know where they come together. Again, my name's Robert Ludeman. I'll be your instructor for the semester, and I hope this gets you started thinking about legal memorandums and what your role in composing them is. Thanks.